could be like,
Sup, humans? This is the one. This is the One Up podcast or talk show. I'm here with Undead Walter and Hellboy. And this, you know what? I freaking hate you guys right now. Oh my god. Anyways, Hellboy, you want to introduce yourself on who you are? Please tell the people.
I am the person they call when they want to spend 5 hours on a bus, right?
There you go. In this talk show, there's been a bit of gaming news that's been going on this past week, and why not cover everything in this one video of talk show? And I'm sorry, guys, I can't get that off my head. We're on air. We're on air, guys. There, I said it.
We are air.
We are air.
Oh God.
Anyways, today we gotta talk about this stuff, guys. Get a hold of yourselves. So the Super Nintendo. Okay, hold up. All right, guys. So this, you guys know about this. You know about the Super Nintendo, the SNES Mini, guys. You guys heard about it, right?
Something about it. Heard of it.
Okay, well, you know what it is. The Super SNES Mini. And you know how Nintendo was saying that they're only going to produce it for like 3 months? And they're going to end. We talked about it in our last talk show, but they couldn't really hear your opinion on it, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Super SNES, or the SNES, Walmart is starting to cancel all the pre-orders. People are pre-ordering the console itself, and they're starting to cancel all of them. And this is starting to become a real big deal to scalpers, because they pre-ordered a bunch of them, and as you can guess, what do you think they already did?
Oh yeah, they
already sold them.
They bought all the European editions.
Yeah, and then not only that, but now it's starting to raise questions to people who, you know, want to buy the console. Is Nintendo going to produce as many as they're going to say, or are they? Do you think they're going to produce like a really small amount, like they did with the NES Mini?
Well, I actually have some great experience on this. Because during the NES Classic, I worked at GameStop.
Oh, wow.
And one day, our Nintendo rep came in, and can you guess how much he knew about the NES?
How much?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
He could not tell us anything. So we were blamed for bad business because not even our Nintendo rep knew anything.
Wow, so like Nintendo's not giving any information out on how much they're going to be producing or when you get them?
Nintendo hates money.
I've noticed that's something you stuck by.
Nintendo did not provide any information. It was really, we were kept in the dark, and we only got about 3 of them a month.
That seems reasonable. I mean, like when I was working at Walmart again with like Wii U stocks, I was there when like the Wii U launched, and I wasn't there, but I later learned that when new games for the Wii U would come out, or like they had that new Wii U Black console or bundles that would come out, they wouldn't tell Walmart anything. Usually it was just you get them when you get them, and Nintendo doesn't tell you when they're shipping them out to you. You're on the list to get them as a store, but they're not going to tell you how many you're going to get, how many, you know, they're shipping out. They usually stay real secretive until the thing's over. And with the SNES, you know, like I said, people are already pre-ordering it, and pre-orders are starting to get canceled, starting to raise question that, you know, maybe Nintendo's not making as many as them as they claim that they were. And again, people are starting to get scared that the SNES is going to end up being a flop, or it's just going to be one of those collector items that, again, like it's going to be $1,000 on eBay, like the NES Mini. And I don't know. This
yeah, it already is. It's I think the cheapest one I saw on eBay was like $2,500.
I'm starting to think, like, what are these things going to be worth? Like, just imagine down the line in a few years. Imagine collectors. Imagine people who emulate the console. There's gonna start being time, like, they're gonna make fake consoles. You know that for sure, and they're gonna sell them for.
There's already the Raspberry Pi. There's no reason to actually go and buy this except for the nostalgia purposes.
Well, not really.
There's no reason.
The Super Nintendo is going to be the only way you can play a new game that was never released. They only had one copy of Star Fox 2. And that is where the prices, are going to be raised,
Well, how long before the Mini is hacked and the everything gets out for people to emulate? I mean,
that's what I'm thinking, but also think about who's buying this console. It's going to be a lot of the scalpers. They're going to be on that thing on top way more than a collector. I just hope someone out there who's a hacker, you get a hold of this console and you release it for free, please.
Nintendo, he didn't actually say that.
Oh no, I said that.
No, he didn't, Nintendo. It's okay. He doesn't mean it.
I mean
Nintendo,
it.
He means it. He means you need to shut your company down because you suck and you constantly disappoint fans. You guys haven't been worth anything since like the 2DS.
Oh, speaking of which, the Nintendo discontinued production of the Nintendo 3DS in Japan and in Europe.
Wow.
And a lot of people are starting to ask questions. They're wondering, is that the end of the 2DS or the 3DS? Do you think that's it? Because they're still making 2DS models. They're still making 3DSs for America. But
and they're not just making it for America. Maybe all of their production for all of the different countries has gone to their American headquarters. Because with the Switch and the 2DS coming out, the purchases of the other ones, they may not disappear, but they are going to slow. I don't necessarily believe that the 3DS is going to go out, that they're going to cancel it just yet. I think they're going to stick with that style of gaming, specifically handheld, for a while before they move to just Switch.
No, what I'm saying, like, they stopped making those. Like, that's it. There's no more.
Except for in America. They're making them in America, and then they can ship them out wherever. It's not saying, like, how do I word it?
Who knows?
They can still ship them out from America?
What was that, Hellboy?
I said perhaps Sir Toupee off an attack cut.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. I mean, this is what I'm thinking. The 3DS, you know how old it is? It was released in 2011.
It was 6 years.
Yeah.
That is a decent run for it.
It is a decent run.
But being that they just came out a couple years ago with the new quote-unquote 3DS.
That's what I'm thinking. And the thing is, they stopped production of the new 3DS, specifically that model, and they're just sticking with the 2DS model. I'm thinking, so the 3DS, what was it known for? It was known for 3D capabilities, and that's why they brought out this new model. It's just as big as the new 3DS. It can play new 3DS games. It just doesn't have the 3D put into it. So I'm also thinking, like, maybe they just stopped in overall using 3D, as a gimmick.
Well, again, not everyone's gonna. Yeah, it was very gimmicky. Not everyone's gonna want the 3D style.
Yeah,
which again, they can focus their production in America for the 3DS, and then just take the brunt of it wherever they need to for the 2DS and for the Switch. They don't have to go and produce it everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hellboy.
I feel like if they just release a Pokemon game for the Switch, everything will be okay.
Yeah, you want to kill the 3DS faster? Like, that's how you do it.
Well, I mean, if
I
it's
don't
been
know.
There's not
around six
exactly.
years, that's what they're trying
Yeah,
to do. They don't
No,
want to produce them anymore because it
they've
costs them to
gone.
produce them.
They've gone on record saying they don't want to get rid of the DS, the 3DS, and 2DS yet, but I really think that that would be their best move. Having too many consoles out at the same time for them, it's
Especially
working
with how
against
much
them.
they sit on the shelves.
Yeah,
yeah, and then I
yeah.
mean,
They don't really make a lot of money off of them.
They're
And when
just
people did come asking for DSs, they weren't around. So I mean, they're
they're
already
losing
losing
money on
their
storage for
supply.
the
Yeah.
yeah, and
for these consoles.
I mean the 3DS. Yeah, it's had a good run. I mean, come on, 2011. You have 6 years on it. We're gonna go on 8 already, and they're still releasing games for it. Not to mention Metroid 2 remake is coming out in November. I think it's November. And
Samus Returns.
yeah, and everyone's already talking about that. You know that it's just, but it's a little weird that just think about the 3DS could be the last handheld console that you really get, other than the Switch. But I still consider it more of a home console because
I don't know about y'all, but the internet's
the internet cut him out.
It would seem as though that is true. And he's, yeah.
Yeah, the internet's cut him out. I can
Let's hope I'm not next.
No, you're not next. It's just his internet. But no, I was saying, the 3DS. I mean, it's trying to raise a question. You've seen the Switch, right, Hellboy?
I've seen the concepts. I've never actually seen one.
Like, you've never seen a Switch, how it works.
Not person. I've seen how it works. I just haven't seen it operated in person.
Oh, okay. Well, it works exactly how it's shown. It works perfect. But people are starting to think that the Nintendo Switch is going to be able to replace the Nintendo 3DS, a handheld console. And
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening.
so, do you think you could see like the Switch being more as like the focus of Nintendo, it being like a handheld console, something that could replace a 3DS, or would you still see room for another handheld in the market?
Uh, they've played out handhelds. To be honest, I don't know if they're going to be able to bring any more in
Any more
without
handhelds?
too many. Yeah, because they already have the 2DS, 3DS, and the Switch. I think, honestly, they just need to focus on the Switch because that generated a lot of Nintendo hype where there wasn't any.
Yeah. So, you think that if they focus on the Switch, it'd be in their best interest, not focusing on another handheld?
Absolutely. Because the Switch can also count as a home console, so they just developed for both sides of that. And I mean, they could create like what the Nintendo 64, I think it was, had like the Pokemon Battle Stadium
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and just like make both console-esque and handheld games for the Switch, and then just put out a lot more support for the Switch as far as troubleshooting and maintenance and.
Yeah. And I mean, so far it seems really solid. But I don't. For me personally, I think because I have the console. The console to me, I think it's a little big. The 3DS has always been more
the
little.
internet to be huge now.
Yeah, it did. No, but we're talking about the Nintendo Switch, and we're talking about is it going to replace the handheld, the 3DS, and that I'm not sure about that. What do you think, Walter?
It very easily could, but I don't think Nintendo can see that far ahead. I think they have their ideas of what they want to do, and they're going to run with it, and it's just not a very smart idea.
But do you think that there's room for another handheld if they were to stop production in America for the 3DS, because the 3DS sales have dropped tremendously ever since the Switch has launched. Since the Switch, like, no one has shown any interest in the 3DS. The only people who have shown interest in the 3DS are people who are waiting for games like Dragon Quest 9 and 10, the new Metroid game, and a possible Harvest Moon clone or something. But other than that, everyone's kind of, they've moved over to the Switch and they're waiting for games to be produced on there.
I think if Nintendo, they think that if they have multiple consoles out at once, that means that they have multiple chances to get our money. But I think the way things are going, it's going to cost them more to keep producing several different consoles than it will to just move to just the Switch.
Yeah. So you don't see at like any point like there being another handheld, something smaller than a Switch, or you think the Switch is going to be the handheld,
I don't know if it's going to be, but I think it should be. And I feel as though what they should do is just stop production, but don't stop support for the 3DS. And then put a sale out on the Switch, like some super massive sale to generate hype.
Oh man.
And then from there, see what happens. Because if they put it down on sale, though, like, the main thing that I've seen as far as people buying the DS is because they can't afford the Switch.
Alright.
So
Yeah.
if they put a sale out on the Switch, I feel like they would get way more Switch consoles out there.
The DS being only $100, I mean, yeah, you're more likely to get people buying that than you are to buy the Switch.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, the Switch, I think it's dirt cheap, or I think it's at the perfect price, you know? For right now, you know, I'm not saying it has to be super freaking expensive, but for what it offers, it's not that bad. I mean, $300, I don't know. I don't think it's that bad compared to, like, an Xbox being $500, or, which all those prices have dropped. But now I'm looking at it, all the consoles now are all at $300. You have a PlayStation 4, you can get that for $300. You can get an Xbox One for $300, and the Nintendo Switch is now at $300. I mean, I think it's all on all the hardware for those consoles. They're outdated.
Yeah.
I mean, now it is.
The Switch isn't necessarily outdated.
Outdated,
it's just not. It's just not ideal console gaming. But
no.
Then again, to have some of the games that they do have on the Switch, and to go and be able to carry those anywhere with you and everything, that's a whole separate thing right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, what's like one of the games, you know, I think I already told you about this, Walter, is that shows me that Nintendo can make AAA games, like a real game that's just as big as any other console, like an Xbox One title or PlayStation 4, is The Legend of Zelda. You've seen yourself how big that game is. That is not a normal sized console, or I mean, not a normal sized handheld game. That is like, we're talking bigger than Skyrim. We're talking
that's a hardcore build right there.
And for what they did, like, after, like I said, after seeing that, I feel like Nintendo has they have no excuse now, because it looks like they gave whatever developers, they gave them the budget, they gave it the attention it needed, and look at the results. They put a little money into it, and they just made one of the greatest games of all time. Even on, like, going as far as to say, like, for people who are like longtime Zelda fans, they're saying it's better than Ocarina of Time or A Link to the Past.
Which is all well and good, but Nintendo is doing the same thing they've always done and stuck with only what do you call it? Console exclusives. If they can actually go ahead and bring out some of the full AAA, which I don't particularly like games like Call of Duty, but if they start bringing that stuff like that into their console, they'll have more of a more people wanting to buy it because they can play the same games everyone else is playing and everyone else is all hyped up about just on the Switch.
Yeah, and I don't know. What do you think, Hellboy?
I think AAA games would definitely be fantastic on Nintendo. They do need something, because so far, like, Nintendo's gotten a bad rap because all they put on is, you know, the Legend of Zeldas, the Pokemons. That's about, like, you know, maybe that, what's that game? Fire Emblem, I think, is one of the main ones.
Well, they just barely started doing something with that franchise. That franchise was dead until Smash Brothers.
And then Smash Brothers, of course, but they need to bring some of the, like, worldly titles in, like maybe even Battlefield or just Call of Duty. As much as I want Call of Duty to just die, it's not gonna happen.
And that'd be a good investment for them. That'd be a good, good money machine, money printer.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Nintendo, what they were talking about, the new Call of Duty that's coming out. They were already talking about a port. They've been talking about putting a port to the Switch.
They need to make a good one, not necessarily like the ones they had on the Wii and all that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that's what I don't get. What I want, I guess, for Nintendo, they've had those third-party titles on their console, but they've always been dumbed down versions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're dumbed down. They're not at its peak, and I think they finally have a console that they can. Like, just why not, you know?
Well, that's also bringing into the question of, can it, though? Have we tested if it can run Call of Duty the way it's supposed to?
There's one of the big problems you're going to run into.
And if it can't, why did they even produce it, so to speak? Why would they limit themselves in such a way?
Yep.
Yeah, and
because they're falling out of the market for a reason. They can't keep up. They can't run Battlefield or Call of Duty the way it's supposed to. They can't run like the big Gran Turismo games. They're stuck doing Mario Kart.
They need to understand that they can't
sell single moms and like families, but at the same time, they're gonna get beat out in sales horribly because.
They need to understand that they can't.
You're not ever going to catch a Nintendo device in my hand. Like, if I need portable gaming, I've got the Vita.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this is where like it gets a little weird. Y'all saying Nintendo's gonna like they'd be behind in console sales or anything, because for the past few months, Nintendo's actually been ahead on sales from the PlayStation 4 and Xbox.
But the PS4 and Xbox have been out way longer.
They have.
So they've had
their chance to slow down.
Yeah, that also raises another question though, because they started slowing down, but with the new recent Xbox One X and people already talking about the PlayStation 5 coming out in like 2019 or rumors, and PlayStation's already talking about it. People are starting to jump.
Majority of people aren't going to get the One X or the Xbox One X. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I've asked many people about this, because you know the Xbox One X, you know, it's basically an upgraded Xbox One. There's nothing special. It's not a next console generation thing. PlayStation 5, they're already talking about it having like specs for just like the Xbox One X, or you know, running just as well. But they're trying to get these consoles to run PC games. They want them to run just as well as a PC does, flawlessly.
Exactly. Why isn't Nintendo trying to do the same thing?
Yeah, and I mean. Yeah. The thing is, though, a lot of people now, like I said, I've talked to many people. I think I've asked, like, out of 7 people, 6 of them have already told me that they're ready to just move to PC because they don't want to buy any of these consoles. And that's another part.
Is a problem.
It's not that. I mean, like you said, Nintendo, they've established their market. Doesn't look like they're going to go for the PC route, which to me, I think I'm totally fine with. I'm totally fine with Nintendo. Just they stay where they are. You know, they're doing well for themselves. They're reviving old classics. I think it's fine. They have their own thing. But as far as PlayStation and Xbox go, it's starting to get me wondering a little bit. That do you think that they're just going to stop and just move to PC gaming, like make their own PC hardware? Because at this point, that's what it's starting to look like. They're trying
I
to.
mean, that might honestly be what's best for the companies at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a. It's going to be a long while because I mean they still freaking sell consoles like hotcakes for right now, but I mean, where the way the market's turning, people are starting. PC gaming right now is probably the biggest it's ever been. It's bigger than consoles, basically. You know. Back then, you talk about PlayStation 2. You know, you had PlayStation 2 was what. That was really where you could play console games. Like it was bigger than PCs. Because back then PCs, you had problems with it running stuff. You had, you know, crashes, and I don't know if did any of y'all have a PC, like in the mid 2000s?
I was too broke.
No.
Yeah, no.
All right, well, I had uncles and aunts. They had PCs because they play all the PC games, and the problem they would always run into is like, oh, is it able to run their hardware? They have to keep on upgrading stuff and all that stuff, and.
Well, see, at the same time, that's what people don't understand is that they're doing the exact same thing by buying a console. The only difference is they're a decade behind that upgrade process.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
The thing is, also
the
what I'm
tech that we have currently is still years behind what PC can do.
Oh yeah, it's way behind now. I mean, like how fast PC, like almost every day. I think what you get a new chip for a PC. You know, like some company is releasing something new online or some update. But I mean, the consoles now, like the games, they're just not. I don't think they're running well as PC games. You know what I mean? Like how many times have you gotten a console game and you bring it home and there's always a bug or like a new game releases and there's a game breaking bug on there. Servers are down.
I
There's.
will never forget Battlefield 4. Pre-ordering that game.
Oh my god.
Putting it in the console and having an actual game-breaking bug every like 2 minutes, to the point where I had to take the game back and say I'll buy it when the price drops.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it now. The people who bought Battlefield 4 Premium, all the DLC is free now, guys. Like, they paid $140, $120 for DLC that's, well, it's free now, and the game is finally working decently.
The story mode still isn't.
It's been working really well lately. After they did their summer updates about a year and a half ago.
How long was the game out though? That game's been out since like
fair.
The consoles.
At the same time, there are games that still today you can't even really play.
No.
Yeah, it's sort of becoming the game meta is put out a terrible game and see who all sticks with you to the end, which needs to be changed. And then we're also finding ourselves in the DLC meta, which is very painful for consumers. Okay,
well, let's talk about DLC real quick. And where do you think it should draw the line? Because back then, I think, like 10 years ago, we didn't have a problem with DLC. DLC wasn't that bad because games were being released with they were full release games, and DLCs were just kind of like, here's a little bit of extra stuff, we're making for it. We got like.
I think it's a cop-out, honestly. I think it's just a bunch of crap. They don't want to. The big executives want that bonus every year, so they keep making the company put out games. Like, if you look at it, the games that take multiple years to come out, like 5-6 years to develop, they always come out AAA crushing sales, and you wonder why. Granted, even those are copping out to DLC, but they still come out way better than something like Call of Duty that takes 6 months to develop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like
and DLC should not be sold as like, here's the rest of the game. It should be sold as, here's some fun stuff to do now that you're done with the game, not...
Yeah.
For instance, Dark Souls. Like, Dark Souls didn't have to rely on its DLC.
No,
they put it out there as a, here, have some more fun. Not, here's the rest of the game.
If you just buy the base game, you will have a hell of a good time. If you buy the DLC, you will have even more fun for like just more hours. It's just I totally agree.
All right, then what do you guys see as acceptable DLC? Like, where do you see that? Like, okay, I'll pay for that. That's a DLC that I'll pay for, not something that's unacceptable? What do you see as acceptable?
Something that takes time to develop and has enough content to make it worth the money. For instance, Call of Duty DLCs are awful.
Oh God!
They
Don't
give
even get me
you maybe
started.
10 minutes. They give you maybe 10 minutes of actual fun.
Well, the thing is, they
From
don't.
there, you're just like, why did I buy this?
Well, they don't even give you
Battlefront
anything. Like,
is entirely unacceptable. Let's give you one map. Let's give you 5 weapons, and every month or so, we're gonna release an update and DLC. And if you don't buy it, you're always gonna lose your game. If you do buy it, then you'll beat the crap out of everyone. That's unacceptable.
so pay to win
That is completely
DLCs.
unacceptable. Those are absolutely ridiculous. Microtransactions within gaming are also ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. I think microtransactions is that should not be allowed in any game unless like I don't even think there's a time
In
where it's
multiplayer games.
at all.
That's-
Okay. So
If
games.
there's any situation where you can pay money to get any sort of advantage upon somebody, it should not be.
Yeah.
It should not.
Yeah.
Be
Pay to win is not an okay concept.
No, it's not. But it's just we've seen pay to win. Okay, microtransactions have basically made it into almost every single game. Every freaking game. Even Halo, a game that Halo 5. Oh my God. Legit, if anything killed Halo 5, it was that. I mean, just the fact that, like you said, Battlefield or Battlefront, you have weapons where, you don't buy the DLC, you're not going to get this weapon that's going to totally overpower anybody. They had a mode on there, for people who don't know, that was called Warzone, and the way it worked is you buy these microtransaction cards. Of course, you could earn them in-game, but then again, when you have a microtransaction game, earning those things in-game they take hours, and there's no point. They make you want to go buy the damn or gold packs or whatever, and you buy these gold packs. And what they do is that when you buy the gold packs, they give you weapons to use in that Warzone game mode. So, and during the Warzone game mode, I mean, the developer 343 went out there and said, "Oh yeah, well, it doesn't work like that. The way it works is that you have to earn points in the game mode, and then you can use those weapons." What it ended up being is like, hey, you wait a couple minutes, you're going to end up getting a lot of points, then you can start using whatever weapon you want that you have in the map pack. So if I were to get tanks, like if I got a tank in a map, or like one of those card packs, and I saved them up over and over and over, I could keep on getting tanks if I wanted to. If I kept on being real good, it's basically like kill streaks in Call of Duty, where people see they reward the winning player with more powerful weapons and stuff, and it gives the people no chance. The people who are losing, no chance to kind of catch up at all. That's where you find yourself. Yeah. It's a one-sided game, basically. And
they're catering to people's wallets, not to the actual gamers.
Yeah, and then not only that, but you can guess that it didn't.
There's one game that I can say their microtransactions were done well, so to speak.
Which one?
Warframe.
I haven't played that game.
An excellent job with because you can get an advantage over somebody, but not necessarily in PvP. It's PvE, and Mass Effect Andromeda as well.
They had microtransactions in Mass Effect?
Yes. You can buy points that allow you to get you can buy loot crates, basically, instead of earning them. But since there's no actual PvP within that game, it doesn't really matter because you're not gaining an advantage so much as you are giving one. But in Warframe, there's platinum that you can buy to buy things, and you can buy them from players, from store. But there's no real super advantage to it because in PvP they take away all your PvE stuff and make you earn the PvP stuff.
That's good.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess, for microtransactions, I mean, there can be good things, there can be bad, mostly it's bad things, because, like you said, I mean, companies, they're really after the money, and when you get companies like, I mean, well, that they just take over. They're big corporations owned by like Microsoft or Activision. It's just going to be, they're money hungry. They're going to do anything to get your money.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the value of these games that are coming out now, they're starting to fall. Like I said, look at Halo. Halo's like my biggest comparison because Halo was once known as like a fantastic game. It was a fantastic trilogy. You had a fantastic spin-offs. You had
a good franchise.
It was a fantastic franchise overall, and anybody could jump into Halo, and it's just it had your campaign and it had your competitive play. It didn't try to be competitive, but it was there. Then you had the people who loved just having fun. And when these microtransactions come into play, the companies are losing sight of what made that game great. What made the game Halo? What made the game, what it was? And I think that's kind of where we're starting to see like a really big decrease in like interest in these games, such as Halo, Gears of War. There's just a lot of things that have gone on, and I don't know. You ever facepalm yourself so hard you just want to? You hope that your hand goes straight through your head.
Pretty much.
I think there's a meme of that.
There is. I will, if I can edit that, I'll put on the screen, just facepalm it, but it's freaking ridiculous. And I mean, like, back to DLCs. I mean, do you guys know when like DLC started becoming like that kind of thing that it wasn't really something that they kind of tacked on because they wanted to, or it was more like, hey, let's take out half the game, let's give them this part of the game later on for DLC. You know when it started happening?
I'm trying to think of what the first DLC I bought was.
Well, let me tell you, Mortal Kombat 9 got it started. I believe it was Mortal Kombat 9. And some fighting games like freaking Marvel vs. Capcom. Because then people started hacking into these games, right? These disc-based games. And started finding out that you bought the content already. You just had to pay for it to play it. The same thing went for Final Fantasy 13 too. They had what they did with this game, they cut out the ending of the game and then released it later on as DLC when it was on the disc. It was playable and everything on the disc.
It was just locked.
It was locked behind paid content. Like it's just.
I believe it.
And it's just like, why are you gonna do this? There should be no reason to. And same thing like Mortal Kombat. They had characters in there that you could play as already. They were basically done, and they just released them later on as DLC. It seems that this is starting to become a real normal thing for people to they lock all these DLCs.
Injustice 2 did that.
Yeah, they did. What would you say you were playing, and who'd you find?
Red Hood, Darkseid, and the final boss in the game. They're all in the game already. They are in the game, but they make you wait till a certain day and they make you pay for it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Not to mention, when I bought my copy of Injustice 2, I told you what they told me, right, Ryan? Freaking,
what's that?
Like, you want to buy the season pass, you get Red Hood. And to me, I was just like, no, I'll wait. And he's like, oh, but come on, man, it's Red Hood. And I asked him how much the season pass was. $40 to play as one character. And not to mention, we all know that this, not only does this, we're talking about DLCs right now, but this leads into another topic of definitive editions. Because all this stuff is linked together. It is all...
Yep.
Because I think this goes along with incomplete games. Definitive editions, complete editions, special editions. It's just... You have games like Injustice 2. I bet you anything, in a couple months or so, when they get all the DLC characters out, they're going to announce that they're releasing complete edition. Injustice 2, Gods Among the Completes, or something, Complete God Edition, Super Ultra Turbo Fighting Edition. I'm telling you, that's what it's going to be. Street Fighter just did this too. Granted, I bought the game because I wanted to play it on the Switch, but it was what called Ultra Street Fighter 2 Turbo Edition.
Turbo Edition.
Turbo something, and it's just these companies are releasing incomplete games, then they finish them with DLCs, then they pack them into one more game, and they what, $60 for extra box art?
I think we've about talked that subject to death, though.
Yeah, we have.
I don't think there's too much more we can say. It's just, it's screwed up. They want money. That's about it.
Just, you're like I said, I could face palm my face through the freaking earth if I wanted to, you know. It's not possible, but it could happen.
Beat yourself to death with your own skull.
If only I could. And all I have to say is, like, these companies, they need to stop before, like I said, well, now people are starting to catch on to this kind of stuff, you know, and it's gonna go back and it's gonna bite them in the, you know what. Specifically EA, I'm looking at you. Anyways,
but
on the
we keep buying them, so what's they don't care.
We or they? I don't. You know I don't. Sometimes
people buy these games whether there's stuff in them, whether there's microtransactions or not, and until there's some actual, I hate to get off topic, but what Rockstar did with mods, the entire community for Grand Theft Auto 5 just completely got together and downrated Grand Theft Auto 5 on everything. Every platform they put negative ratings, which came out to be overwhelmingly negative, which affected their sales. Until you have the community coming together like that to protect the thing that they enjoy, you're not gonna get these companies to stop, unfortunately.
Yeah, no. But hey, it is what it is. I mean, so far the companies are making money. As long as that happens, they'll live.
Yeah.
But if they continue making mistakes, I do think eventually you're going to see companies like EA, they're going to be struggling. Capcom's already struggling. Look at them, and Konami too. And they tried doing it, but they're already almost out of business. If they don't do something quick. That is a fact. So hopefully Konami goes out of business. Capcom, I hope Nintendo buys you, because they have a lot of good exclusives and games that they can use.
A lot of good IPs.
Yeah, but hey, there you go. And on to further news. So we got PlayStation August free games update for the games of August. God dang, I'm looking at this right now. Just Cause 3 and Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry are one of the big
seriously?
titles. Yeah.
Oh, damn it. I don't have PlayStation Plus. I'm actually going to go out of my way to get it now, just so I can get Just Cause 3.
If you guys haven't played Just Cause 3, it's one of those games, I can't help but emphasize that if you haven't played Just Cause 3, you have to play it. If you're watching this and you play an Xbox, just don't get on Xbox, please. Trust me. Don't. You know, I never thought I'd complain about frame rates, but when it comes to games like Just Cause 3 or Dark Souls, when you can see a difference, and if you have one of the two consoles, I'd say get Just Cause 3 on the PlayStation 4. So if you have a PlayStation 4, hey, enjoy Just Cause 3 and Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry. I never played that game, but you know, that one's out there. Brian, I think there's still some games out this month that were for free. Was Shadow of Mordor?
No, that was the summer sale.
That was damn. Either way,
and it was like $3.
$3?
This month's is Until Dawn, Game of Thrones, I believe, and Life is Strange.
Oh, that's how you were playing it.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well then, there you go. Life is Strange. I don't know, Ryan. You got any other like game recommendations you have? People play out there. This is your time.
I picked up Mad Max on the summer sale, and I played it non-stop for like 30 hours. If you find it fairly cheap, I guess, I say pick it up. I, having played it now, it's totally worth the $20-30 price that you'd get buying it on PSN. Anything above that, maybe not, because it's not like really tied into anything like Batman was, like the Arkham games or like Mordor. But that one's definitely an awesome game to check out.
All right.
Incredibly underrated.
Hellboy, you got any games you recommend to the peeps?
Are we strictly console right now?
No, we don't have to be console. It could be games outside, games anywhere, like anything.
World of Warcraft, 100%.
You've been playing that You've been playing that recently.
Actually, I have not, because I can't afford it. But if you can, I say go for it. Best MMO experience out there.
There's Hellboy's recommendations.
If we're going PC, I say City Skylines. If you like the SimCity style games, City Skylines goes like in depth and beyond. You can, it's intense. I played it for a few hours before I honestly got a little overwhelmed. But with mod capabilities and just a little time in the game, it's incredibly fun.
Huh.
And another quick recommendation would be Ark Survival Evolved. Great game. Very buggy though, so I would wait till the full release.
They're still working on that?
For that. Yep.
God dang.
Full releases in about a week and a half, I think.
Even with the price increase, you'd recommend it?
Definitely. Still recommend it.
Alright.
That's bold.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, the increase in price was they stopped selling early access so much as, like, they stopped selling it with a DLC. That's where the real price increase comes from.
Ah.
So, it used to be you paid $55 and you got the game and the only DLC they came out with because they were trying to catch people up to PC. But now with the full game release coming out, they took away the DLC extra and added $5 to make it $60.
Okay.
But
well, that's
the people, like, they're not going to miss out on a whole lot because they're going to have the new map that comes out that's going to have a portion of it that's just like the old DLC. So they're not really going to miss a whole lot. They're just not going to pay. They're just not going to, like, get it lumped in.
Oh, okay.
Because the new map that's coming out is, it's called Ragnarok, and it's supposed to, which has been delayed more times than I'd like to talk about.
Alright.
And so it's basically, it's a combination of the 3 maps already out. So the island, the center, and Scorched Earth. And then they're adding a new section of it that's going to be like an icy wasteland that's going to have ice wyverns and all kinds of fun stuff now. They're adding griffins to the game.
Ooh.
And then they're also, in order to clean up the duping and all the other game-breaking exploits that they've been having, they're adding new servers. And they're also adding a new software to aid in DDoS protection.
Oh,
because
damn.
right now in the game, there's the main way people fight is to DDoS a server, and so whoever DDoSes first and can DDoS more often wins. Basically now, and so people have sort of stopped wanting to play.
Oh, well, that's good.
And, so they're basically coming out to try to stop that. And they're adding new servers for people to go to because they were originally thinking about wiping all the servers completely and resetting everybody. But instead they decided to, because I guess they had extra money from selling the DLC, so they just bought new servers.
Huh. Alright. Well, there you go. Ark and Warcraft. And whatever Walter said.
7 Days to Die is also a good game recommendation.
7
I've heard
days?
a lot of good things about 7 Days to Die.
I started playing it.
It is a wonderful game.
I could not find interest in it until I found somebody who knew how to play it and they showed me how. And then it's actually a really decent game. I will stand behind that. It's just not. You judge a book by its cover. It's one of those games that like.
It's not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, that's out there too. One of the few of the games I recommend if you guys hated Mighty Number 9 and kind of hoping it to be like that great Mega Man kind of successor that it was, and you have a Nintendo Switch or a 3DS that can play eShop games. On the 3DS, you have Gunvolt, and on the Nintendo Switch, you have Mighty Gunvolt Burst, which is probably one of the best Mega Man clones out there, and you can pick up. Also, people are probably already playing Splatoon 2. I didn't think it was going to be that good because I never played the first one. But hey, that one's a good one. And also, if you have a PlayStation 4 and you're looking for a new exclusive or something to play, you also got God Eater 2 that came out on here. It is a PSP Vita port, so don't expect like fantastic graphics, but I do love the animation style of the game. And there's a lot to enjoy.
Battlefield 4 is also good.
Battlefield.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Battlefield's like what, cheap? It's like $5 right now. $10.
Something like that. I think it's like 20. I think premium edition's a little more, but I mean.
It's a game. But anyways,
it's definitely, that one's definitely fun. And crazy things happen on there a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, make sure you guys get Battlefield Hardline.
Overwatch and pretty much any game made by Blizzard.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Anything Blizzard is kind of
addicting.
the #1 recommendation here.
Yeah, so remember guys, you got Battlefield Hardline, Mighty...
Not Hardline, 4.
No, specifically Hardline, guys. Remember, make sure you pick up a Hardline. You know, Mighty Gunvolt, you got Just Cause...
Joe has forever lost his followers.
Oh god, Hardline was terrible. I need to check the servers on that. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. This is ThePowerUpMushroom here with people. And they are real.
We are air.
Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.